Hello everyone, welcome to channel Qtomation. In today's session we will see about text and get attribute methods. So text and get attribute methods in Selenium, both these methods are used to extract information from web elements, but they serve different purpose. So this text method and get attribute methods, sometimes it can be confusing. They look similar. So basically both of them are used to extract information from web elements, but they serve different purpose. They both are different. Now we will see what exactly are the difference between text and get attribute methods. So text method, it is used to extract the visible text content of a web element. So normally text method is used to extract the inner text of the web element. And what is the inner text here is, it is particularly useful for extracting text from elements like paragraph, span, heading tags, etc., which do not have sometimes attributes but they contain a visible text. If you see this example of some HTML code, what is inner text here? So this is the paragraph tag which is starting. After that there is a ID attribute, and which is ID attribute is having value as p1, and then here paragraph tag is closing. So between start and closing, if you see there is some text. This is example of inner text property. So this text is known as a inner text, and if you want to extract this text from the element, we can use text method. So text method is used to extract inner text of a web element. Below that, if you see, there is one more example, button tag, and here button tag is closing. In between that, if you see, click here to update the inner text. This is basically again example of inner text. So this is the text method which can be used to extract visible text of web element. On the other hand, there is a get attribute method. Now get attribute method is used to retrieve the value of a specific attribute of a web element. What is attribute here? If you see this example, ID is an attribute of p tag, paragraph tag. So if I want to extract the value of this ID tag, that is p1, if I want to extract this p1, then I can use get attribute method. In get attribute method, if I pass the attribute, that is ID, it will fetch the value as p1. So that is the benefit of using get attribute method. It allows you to access any attribute of an element, whether it's a standard attribute like href, value, src, etc., or it can even fetch custom attribute that we have added to the element. Now this is the theoretical. Now we will see one practical example as well. So what I will do, I will just go to PyCharm. In PyCharm, let's create a new Python file. I am naming it as text versus get attribute. So we have created one Python file. In this Python file, I am adding some code up to opening. So we are adding some code here. So this is basically importing of packages. We have added, or we have created options class object, and we have added add experimental option detach value as true, so that it will keep the browser open after the script end. We have also created service class object, in which we are passing executable path having the value of our browser driver exe executable file, and this service class object and Chrome options, which we are passing it in driver instance. So whenever we are creating the driver instance, webdriver.chrome, in which we are passing these two objects, and then we are opening driver.get. So we are opening this URL. So I am just going to use this URL, demo.nopcommerce.com/login. So in this page, so I will just show you. So this is the web page which we will open. So what I will do, I will simply log in with some random email ID, let's say something random email ID, and I will just click on this login button. So it will throw the error, and after this error, let's say I want to fetch, I want to find out, I want to print this email value. Whatever email value we have inputted, we have given as an input to this email field, I want to fetch this value. Now we will see text method as well as get attribute method and which one can fetch this value. So I am just closing this. So this is the code to open this website. After that, what we have to do is we have to click on So after opening this website, we want to pass some random email ID. So for that, let's inspect the element. Let's find out locator for this email field. So let's find out locator for this email field. So if you see here, when you highlight on this, there are multiple attributes. So I will use name attribute, name equals to email. So Control F, 2 times forward slashes, I am writing the relative XPath. Input is a tag name, @ name equals to email. So that is perfectly finding our email field. So I am just copying it, going back to PyCharm, and then I will simply write driver dot find element by dot XPath comma value of XPath dot, and we want to pass some values. So we want to pass by using send keys method. Send keys test user @gmail.com. So we are passing the value of some random email ID, and then we want to click on that login button. I want to click on this login button. So let's find out locator for this login button. So if you see input tag, so basically not an input tag, it is a button tag having attribute like type, class, and there is a text as well. So this is basically inner text. If you see, this is the inner text. So let's try to write XPath for this. 2 times forward slashes button @type equals to submit, @type equals to submit. So when we are using this XPath @type equal to submit, it is finding two elements, because this search button as well as this login button are having the similar locator up to this. So this locator is pointing, this XPath is pointing two elements, but we want only login button. We want login button. So let's see how we can find out some unique thing. Let's try to use class and let's see whether it works or not. Instead of class, we can also use this visible text, that is login. So I will just add one more condition, @type equals to submit. I will just use AND operator. Then I will use text method equals to, what is the text here? Login. So if you see, it is highlighting that locator. So we can use like this as well. So this locator will find out login button. So I want to click on that login button. So again I will write driver dot find element by dot XPath comma value of XPath, and then we want to click on it. So after clicking, it will throw the error. It will throw the error. So after clicking on it, it will throw the error. So if you put some random email ID here and then click on login button, it is going to throw the error. So it will throw the error. After throwing this error, what I want to fetch is whatever input we have provided as an email. This is the email. I want to fetch this. I want to print this. So how to print this? So first, for that, let's try to explore one more time. Same email field we want to take. we will use two methods, get attribute as well as text method, and let's see which one gives the actual output of this value. So I want to fetch this email ID from this email ID input field, whatever we have provided after error is thrown, right? So I will go to PyCharm. So I will just write driver dot basically we are going to again use the same, right? So I am just copying it, driver dot find element by dot xpath. This is the locator for the email field. First I will use text method and we will store it in, let's say I am just storing it in text1. So text1, it is this text which will be written by this statement, that is by using text method. We have captured that email field, we have captured that we are capturing this email field and we are using text method on this, and let's see whether it captures it or not. This is by using text method. So here we are using text method for input field. Next one is get attribute method. So here again I will use text2 driver dot find element by dot xpath comma the same locator which we are going to use. So this is the xpath. And now I will use get attribute method. So by using get attribute method, let's see how we can do it. So if you highlight this element, so this is the highlighted element. If you see input is a tag name and there are multiple attributes. By using get attribute method, there is a class attribute, autofocus attribute, type attribute. There are multiple attributes are there. And if I want to fetch the value for specific attribute, I can use get attribute method. So which attribute we want to fetch out? So if you see, there is a value attribute. This value attribute is having value of this email ID which we have passed here. So what I will do, I will use value attribute. Let's go to PyCharm. Here we have to use dot get attribute method, and in that we have to pass the attribute name. So value is a attribute name and it will return the value. It should return the value. Now here we have used get attribute method and we have passed the name of attribute, that is the value. Now let's execute this file. So before that, let's print text1, also print text2. Now text1 is by using result of text method. So I will simply print result by using text method comma next one is by using get attribute, in which we have passed value as a attribute name. Result by using get attribute comma text2. Now let's execute this file and let's see which one is bringing what. So it is launching the browser. Now error has occurred and it actually captured. Now let's see the console output. If you see result by using text, it is returning no value. There is no value returned for this result by using text method. But result by using get attribute, in which we have passed value as an attribute, it is returning that value, right? It is returning this value which we have passed here. Why this happened? Because we know that text method returns the inner text. Text method returns the inner text. We have seen. Text method is used to extract the visible text of a web element. And that inner text is basically, if you see for this username field there is no inner text is present. That's why the text method is not returning anything. There is no inner text. If you see, there is no inner text present for this email field, whichever value which we have passed here. When we passed get attribute along with the value, if you see this value field, that is having that value. So this value is stored in value attribute, where attribute name is value and the value of that value attribute is testuser@gmail.com. That's why it is capturing that value. So get attribute method is used to fetch value from any attribute. Here we have used text to equals to that locator of that email field with get attribute method, and we have passed value as an attribute which is having value of that email ID which we have passed here. That's why it is giving output that email ID. But for text one, we have used text method which is used to extract inner text, but there is no inner text present for that email field. If you see, there is no inner text. That's why it is returning no value. Now let's see another example. So I will just comment this part. Now what I will do is, let's try to find out this login field. So I will just show you example for inner text as well. Let's use this, or we can simply use register as well this time. If you see, if you highlight on this, if you see, this is the inner text, right? This is the inner text for this register button or register link. This is the, mostly links are having inner text. So this is register link. It is having register as a inner text. Similarly, if you see this login button, that will also have login as a inner text. Another example which we can see, let's say there are multiple links are present. Now let's see this search link. If you see this search link, there is a inner text present as a search. Similarly, if you see this my account, there is a inner text my account. Now let's try to find out inner text for this login button. So we have already have the locator for this login button. So what I will do is, I will just use text1 equals to text1 equals to, I will just use this locator for this login button where we are clicking on it. So instead of clicking, we will just store it. So this is the locator for the login button. So I am just storing text1 equals to driver.find element by xpath. This is the locator for that login button, and I want to just fetch the text from it, inner text. So I will use dot text and I am storing it in text1. So and next statement is print result by using text1, and similarly I will use text2 by using some get attribute method. Let's try to find out value of any attribute of the login button. So again, let's use the same driver dot, this is the locator for the login button, and dot get attribute. Let's see what are the attributes present for this login button. What are the different attributes are present? So if you see, button is a tag name, type is one attribute, class is another attribute, login is a inner text. So there are two attributes, type and class. Now let's try to print the class attribute value. So I will just use class get attribute in which I am just passing class. So now let's see what is the output coming for text1 and text2. I am just executing this file and let's see the output. So it is launching the browser and it has completed. So let's minimize it. So this is the result. So result by using text login, that is basically inner text which it has fetched, right? If you see, result by using text is login, that was the inner text, and result by using get attribute method in which we have passed class, right? So button -1 login button, this is the class name. If you see, this is the class name and this is the inner text. So that is the difference between text method and get attribute method. So let's revise one more time. We have seen the practical example now, right? Now let's revise one more time. Text and get attribute methods. So text method is used to extract visible text content of a web element. That is also basically inner text, that is known as a inner text. Text method is used to fetch inner text. If you see, this is the inner text example. And get attribute method is used to retrieve the value of specific attribute of a web element. So in this example we have seen, we have fetched attribute value by using get attribute method. So if you want to summarize it, we can use the text method when you want to extract visible text content from element or the inner text, and if you use the get attribute method when you have to need to retrieve the value of specific attribute of an element. So that is basically difference between text method and get attribute method. So thank you for watching this video. If you like my videos, kindly subscribe to my channel and share it with your friends so that they can also learn from my channel. Thank you everyone.